Hello, and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Magiskan, the Aboriginal Liaison with the City of Thunder Bay. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you.
So I'm really pleased to have you on the show today, and we've had a little chat, kind of getting to know each other a little bit more. But for our viewers, tell us a little bit about your background. Are you a Thunder Bay girl right from the get-go, or?
You could say that. I was raised in Thunder Bay since about the age of 4, and I'm from a First Nation community of Lac Seul First Nations. I'm a registered band member there, but grew up here in the city. Started my career, I should say, in the city here about 1992, when I started as a summer student at Fort William Historical Park, working in the Native encampment.
No. So was that more or less when the fort started going there? I forget the time period there.
No. The fort actually started its operation in the early 70s,
Okay.
early 70s. And so I had started there as a summer student in the Native encampment and stayed there for 16 years. Moved on from a student position to the Native Heritage Program Officer. So was fortunate enough to have learned under one of our elders in our community of Thunder Bay, Frida McDonald, as well as my mother-in-law, Mary Magiskan, who were longtime staff of the fort. And so I was very fortunate to learn a number of skills from them and was able to carry the Aboriginal programming forward for a number of years after that.
Cool. Well, I'm hoping to get Frida on the show. We've crossed paths over there, and so, but it's on the list to do's.
Right.
So you're now working for the city. How long have you been with the city?
I started at the city almost 2.5 years ago as the Aboriginal Liaison. Prior to that, I did work for the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board as the Aboriginal Outreach Coordinator for 4 years. So it's all the work has been in the city. All the work that I've tried to do has, over the years, has been to broaden awareness of Aboriginal people in our history. So the fort was a prime example of that. Sort of during the heyday of the fur trade era, what the role of the Ojibwe people were during that time frame.
Well, I'm a bit of a history buff myself, and just listening to the radio earlier today, one of the commentators was talking about how, in particular, they were talking about on the East Coast, the Micmac, the history of Nova Scotia is really the history of the Micmac. But that's not how our history books are oftentimes written. It's more like it's a history of when the white people came and the interaction, and that was like, date zero. But there's a whole lot of history before that. So this really kind of rings for me, like, okay, so how, this is one of the things you've been working on, and so what are some of those insights that people should know about and think about?
And again, one of the things we do at the city, one of the job descriptions that I have is to do staff training. So I do Aboriginal cultural awareness training with all new city employees. Part of that training is broadening the understanding that Aboriginal people or Indigenous people have been here long before contact, for thousands of years before contact. And so broadening again, thinking back to ethnohistory, when we had 45 million Indigenous people on the North and South Americas, and how those numbers were decimated over a 100-year time span to 4 million. So again, it's bringing about that broader understanding that we're not new. We were here prior to contact.
And so the Aboriginal Liaison, that's a certain function or office within the structure of the city.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit, what's your mandate? What is it that that part of the city is supposed to be focusing on?
A big piece of what our role is to work at building relationships between the corporation and urban Aboriginal people. And that can mean almost any number of things. It can mean understanding the demographic shift that's happening in Thunder Bay. It could mean understanding what it is Aboriginal people are bringing to the city's overall DGP. So the list can go on, right? It's building partnerships and relationships with different levels of government. So moving things forward, broadening the understanding that even though we're captured under what's called urban Aboriginal people, that we're all distinct Aboriginal people depending on where we're come from. Thunder Bay is a hub in history as a meeting place, and continues to be a hub if we really look at society today.
Oh yes, indeed.
That we have representation of people coming from numerous different treaties and numerous different backgrounds. And so really showing people that we're all unique as an individual as Aboriginal people. So broadening that understanding through the cultural awareness programming, through one of the projects that we've been working on for the past 2 years through the city.
And so is there, I think you told me there's kind of like a reference group or a larger group that you also kind of interrelate to? Tell me about that.
So, with the Aboriginal Liaison unit, we have a strategy, Aboriginal Liaison strategy, which helps us to guide our work. The strategy was created in partnership with the community, so hosting focus group meetings to bring community members to the table, to bring a voice to where they would like to see the Aboriginal Liaison move in the work it's doing in the city. City administrators, city councillors, our city mayor, our city manager, all have an opportunity to give input to the Aboriginal Liaison strategy. Then the document's put together. We work under 4 pillars: the role of leader, the role of employer, the role of I've lost it.
No, that's okay.
I had the 4 pillars.
Well, I had the mayor on, a few months ago, and he was talking about the city's strategic plan.
Yes.
So does this kind of fit within that
Definitely.
larger document?
Definitely. Of course, the city works off of a 10-year strategic plan. Ours goes based on 4 years. So it does get rolled into the overall city strat plan.
And so if people want to take a look at that strategy, is it a document
It
that's
is a
available?
Yes, it is.
And where do they find that?
They would just have to go to the city's website and pull up the Aboriginal Liaison. They'll be able to find the document within that.
Okay, so and that's thunderbay.ca, I think, or something like that?
www.thunderbay.ca will bring you to the city's website.
Great. So we're going to need to take a short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.